Hello my beautiful Libras, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing your 2025 horoscope. Watch this first and foremost, of course, if you're Libra rising, but also check it out if you're Sun and Moon. If you don't know your rising, always check for your Sun and your Moon, see which one resonates more. One of them usually resonates more than the other, but of course if you know your rising sign, always start with that, because astrologically this will be the most specific, the most sensitive part of your chart. And of course, still, as much as I'm going to tell you what I think are some of the most important influences on you in the year 2025, this is going to be very brief and general. And if you want a personalized consultation, as of the moment right now, this is officially last chance to book it. Bookings are closed after that. Happy 2025. If you like this type of content, do make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Do make sure you subscribe. And anyway, guys, without any further ado, let's get started. All the information about everything is in the description box of the video. Okay, Libras, so for you, what it looks like, 2025 is gonna be a very important year for your relationships. But before we go into that, because there is a lot of different transits that are activating relationship access for you, before we go into that though, I do want to talk, and let's just get it out of the way. Mars retrograde and long Mars transit through Leo and Cancerian, that for you is about your 11th and 10th house. So we start the year with Mars retrograde. Mars is in the sign of Leo, entering Cancer and then turning direct in Cancer, going back into Leo in April. So the first half of the year is characterized essentially by sort of like this Mars retrograde and also this Mars transit, because there's also post-shadow period after that. And Mars is out of Cancer in April, out of Leo in June. So the first half of the year essentially is influenced by this transit. And of course for you, this is about your 11th house of gains from your career. It's your social circles, it's public image, friendships, goals you have for yourself. And 10th house is about career. Again, your public image, your social status. So this Mars retrograde in particular is very, very social, very socially oriented, I guess, if you will. Of course for you as well, being a Libra rising, Aries is your 7th house. So for you, Mars is the ruler of your house of relationships. It also is the house of your, it is also the ruler of your 2nd house. Scorpio is in your 2nd house. So Mars is also the ruler of your 2nd house. So Mars being the ruler of both 2nd and 7th house, going retrograde, turning direct, going through shadow, post-shadow in 10th and 11th house, brings a very intense focus on also figuring out any financial matters as well through your career or social circles, any issues within relationships or anything you're doing with partnerships, contracts, figuring out your goals for yourself, for career. You could go through an image rebranding in 2025. There are other factors suggesting that. But yes, this Mars in particular energy is very much, especially if you're in a relationship, especially if you're in a partnership, there is a big focus on where we are going, what's happening with property, what's happening with real estate. Because again, also 10th house is 4th, of course, from the 7th, and 11th is 5th from the 7th. So creativity with a partner could be very much highlighted this year. What you're creating with a partner, what in general, what you're creating for yourself, this is a very, very big focus for you for the first half of the year. Now, of course, as well, we are going to have the last eclipse in the end of March in the sign of Aries, which is for you, again, in your 7th house of partnerships and of relationships. Libra is already a very partnership-oriented sign, but this year is going to feel like it's even more, like you're even more focused on, on your partnerships. Because again, last eclipse in the 7th house is the culmination of the series of eclipses we have, is the culmination of the journey of North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra that we had since 2023. So for a lot of you, since the summer 2023, when that North Node ingressed into Aries, immediately squared Pluto in Capricorn, there was quite an influence on, like, maybe there was a big change that occurred in your relationships. Let me know in the comments, especially those of you Libra rising, but also Sun and Moon. Was there a change in your relationships? I have a lot of clients who have Libra placements, Libra rising especially, who have been in very long relationships and they've gone through a divorce or they met somebody new. Like, relationships for a lot of you might have been very, very, like, gone through a severe, serious disruption, maybe even a tower moment of sorts. So yes, let me know in in the comments about what happened for you, because again, I know a lot of people who've gone through significant, for some people severe change in their partnership. So this last eclipse is going to be officially kind of like the closure of the chapter, the end of this chapter. And eclipses now will move into your 6th and 12th house. 6th and 12th house axis deals more about rest versus work, fitness, mindset, different things like this, things that we need to wrap up and close, things that we are getting busy with. Of course, for a lot of you, you might get a lot more busy with work, things you need to do. Sometimes when we go through, North Node, I'm a Scorpio rising, so I just completed this. Sometimes when we go through North Node trend through the 6th house, as much as we might want to be on a like battery saving mode, we get much more busy for whatever reason. The various reasons could be I started working out a lot actually through this transit. So yeah, it could be more focused on fitness, quite literally, exercising more, maybe getting more busy with work, with clients. If you're in client-based business, maybe just getting more busy with your job. South Node in the 12th house will push you to let go of any limiting beliefs, maybe where you're self-judgmental, self-critical. Again, as a Scorpio rising, I just gone through similar transit, but for me, South Node was in Libra in your sign in the 12th. So I was letting go of a lot of limiting beliefs about partnerships, unhealthy, maybe toxic, even addictive tendencies and attitudes towards relationship. For you, South Node is in Virgo, so it's a bit of a different energy. South Node in Virgo is about letting go of criticism, letting go of judgment, judgmental people, your own judgment towards yourself. Libras could be quite perfectionists, and with South Node in Virgo in the 12th, anywhere where you just feel like you are not enough the way you are, you have to live up to some kind of unrealistic standard of perfection. For a lot of you guys are going to be letting this go now. Interestingly enough, even though the eclipses are done with your 1st and 7th house axis, the biggest actually transit of 2025, the biggest, so to say, one of the transits of the century, if we will, is of course both Saturn and Neptune now going into your 7th house. So 2025, one of the powerful transits of this year is that first Neptune is going to go into Aries, first time since 19th century. This is huge. And then Saturn is also go just like a few weeks later into your 7th house as well, where it's going to stay for about 2.5 years. Saturn cycle is much shorter, of course, than Neptune, even though out of visible planet, Saturn is the slowest visible planet, slowest moving visible planet. So it's interesting because Neptune and Saturn couldn't be more different from each other. Neptune dissolves borders and boundaries. Neptune brings this dreamy perspective, oceanic in a way. It's like ocean, right? You cannot really tame the ocean. It goes so deep, we don't even know everything about the ocean and all the mysteries and secrets to this day. So for you, yes, Neptune in the 7th house, I guess one precaution I would give you, and again, don't freak out, it doesn't mean that you're going to have a bad transit or anything like that, but like with Neptune in 7th house, it's very easy to slip into the fantasy of wanting this perfect, partner. For you with Neptune and Aries, you might, especially as a more feminine energy, you might desire that perfect masculinity in your relationship. And again, I'm not saying that you cannot get it, but just make sure you are not idealizing or overly fantasizing here. With Neptune, you got to be careful about it. It's not that you cannot dream, but you got to make sure that you are not like deceiving yourself, because if you don't deceive yourself, others cannot deceive you. Only when you are self-deceiving, others can actually get away with deceiving you or actually succeed at that. I hope it makes sense. So yes, try to not over-idealize people, even though it could be difficult. But the good news is that Saturn is going to go there. And actually, in this case, it is a good news, because Saturn couldn't be more further from Neptune in terms of energies. Like if Neptune dissolves borders, boundaries, perceptions, it's connected to alcohol. Neptune is the planet that is connected to drugs and psychedelics and things like this. Saturn is about restriction. Saturn is about borders, boundaries, expectations, rules, regulations. Saturn is exalted, for example, in the sign of Libra. Why? Because Libra is the sign of law. It's the sign of balance. It's the sign of harmony. And Saturn likes that. Saturn and Libra is that, Supreme Court judge who is a good judge, who is a fair judge, right? You want the judge to be fair. You want the judgment to be fair. You don't want it to be, there's a concept, right, of mercy judgment. You don't want there to be too much judgment, too harsh, but you don't want also, to not have any discernment. It needs to be balanced. Of course, having transit like that, Saturn should help you with discernment. So, Virgos were not so lucky in a way with like Saturn only arrived in Pisces by the very end of Neptune transit. Like, I'm not a Virgo rising, I'm a Virgo moon, but like we had the Neptune in Pisces making us, delulu about soulmates, twin flames, and all the other nonsense. And the harsh reality of Saturn kicked in only in the end of this transit in 2023. So since 2012, your friends Virgos were going through this transit full of delusion, so much delusion, and there was no even anything really to slow us down. So we went full delulu, and only in the end when Saturn entered Pisces, there was a harsh, very painful awakening that felt more like some kind of requiem for a dream. I think I call Saturn and Pisces energy requiem for a dream, because that's really, that music, the theme song, very depressing but beautiful, hauntingly beautiful. That's the Saturn and Pisces. In my view, I think you guys, you Libras, are a bit more lucky because again, if you use your discernment, if you don't let Neptune make you carried away later, the very beginning of this transit with Saturn there, it's almost going to be like, okay, be delulu, but be practical as well, be discerning, like don't just go on this wild goose chase, don't just believe in a magical unicorn. If it's a unicorn, then there better be $1 billion right next to it. So it's like it's gonna, in a way, yes, like for Virgos essentially it was completely opposite of this transit. They experienced first long transit of Neptune, illusions, delusions, and then only in the end Saturn was like, hello, all of this was not real. A lot of Virgos felt it. For you it's different. For you, Neptune's gonna enter there, but Saturn is gonna enter there literally almost at the same time, and it's gonna be like, I'm not gonna fall for any tricks. Nevertheless, of course, for you this is the beginning of a long term focus on partnerships, restructuring your partnerships, lessons in your partnerships, dreams associated with partnership. And of course most of it is romantic and marriage, but it could be also just in general, also your relationships with people, business partnerships, clients, any people you form important and lasting relationships with, lots of lessons within relationships. That again doesn't mean that it's bad, but it's more like you're gonna grow, I think, a lot through your partnerships, through your relationships. Now it's interesting as well, I want to mention here, is that right in the midpoint, approximately the midpoint between this Neptune and Saturn ingress in your 7th house, there's also going to be Venus retrograde in your 7th and 6th. Venus is going to be retrograde in Aries and in Pisces, which for you again is right in that where all this action is, where Saturn and Neptune are exiting, but at the same time nodes are entering there, and your planet Venus, which is your ruler, is going to be retrograde there in that area of the sky, in Pisces and in Aries and in Pisces more correctly. So I feel like, yeah, you are definitely going to be focusing on relationships, resolving any kind of issues you currently have. Anything with work that needs to be resolved is also off focus. You are the way planets are moving, it's interesting because it's like they're activating very specific parts of your sky, the same parts but in different ways. And of course what's also very interesting is that Uranus, the planet that you had in your 8th house since approximately what year did it enter, 2017ish I want to say, Uranus is going to enter your 9th house. Uranus is going to enter Gemini in July of 2025. For you, it's 9th house of higher learning, of guru, of teachers, of travel, of education, of expansion, of your worldview, of your philosophy, of how you see the world, foreigners, any kind of people that have different religion or spiritual beliefs than you do. And of course, one planet like Uranus goes, first of all, Uranus in Gemini, of course, is going to be very different than Uranus in Taurus. In Gemini is a air sign, so I think it's gonna, the energy hopefully will start being more lighter. Hopefully is the key word. Uranus in the 9th house, I think, will bring you a revolution in your thinking, how you perceive everything around you. Maybe all your life you didn't believe in anything, suddenly you have a spiritual awakening. Or maybe all your life you were more like conservative, religious, and suddenly you see a different point of view. Maybe you get exposed to a religion that's different than the one you grew up with. I've seen it happen to be like, in crazy ways with some people. Like, I don't want to go into much details, but yeah, like I've had some friends of mine, mainly due to traveling, they got exposed to new philosophies, new religions, and then they did things that I could never imagine they would ever do. So yes, with Uranus in 9th house, not out of the question. So yeah, maybe for some of you it's even connected because of some very interesting partner. You get exposed, to a very different view, perception of the world. start traveling more, start studying more spiritual disciplines. It's gonna be very, very interesting. Actually, if I think about this now, right, for me, well, I'm a Virgo moon. So for me, Uranus and Taurus transit was in the 9th house. I'm trying to think how it manifested from the moon, because this is the only way I experience this transit. I traveled a lot, it's true, since 2017. I think right around the time when Uranus entered Taurus. That's when I actually officially moved out of my apartment in New York City, and I literally was nomadic for a few years. I lived in Bali 6 months, Mexico year and a half, here, there, South America a little bit, etc. It was very, very unstable, unsettling at times, but I of course was very, very in spirituality at the time, because I started my YouTube right around the time too, when I think about it like that. So yes, let me know in the comments down below, what are your plans for 2025? What is one thing perhaps you are looking forward the most? Any questions you have? And as always, as much as these are some of the main themes in your own chart, there could be something slightly more different, because again, this transit could be activated in your chart in a different way based on your planets. If you want your personalized 2025 prediction, it's available in the description box down below. Thank you guys, as always. If you like this content, give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. We're almost at 100k, and I love you all. I'm wishing you the best 2025. May all your dreams come true. May you always be protected, cherished, loved, blessed. Love you all. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll talk soon. Bye.